Hello students of Maastricht. This is a vlog about pleading. I'm Alastair Ben and this is
Ben Thompson.
And we're going to try and impart some of our dubious knowledge about pleading skills for the upcoming Moot court.
But fortunately it would only be a short video. Alastair is, as you can see, ginger, and the light we're using means that he can only be in front of it for 2 or 3 minutes before he'll start to crisp up.
We're probably going to have to do it before and after, aren't we?
We were going to do it at night, but he actually gets sunburnt when the moon's out, so...
Okay, anyway, after talking about my skin, let's talk about why do you need to plead in front of a court? Well, basically the idea is to convince the judge that your argument is correct and right, even if it's not really. And how do you do this? Well, you've got to be convincing.
And how do you be convincing? You incorporate into your pleading 2 principal elements. Firstly, structure, and secondly...
clarity.
And how do we achieve structure? The same old thing that you're told time and time again. 4 little letters, IRAC. For every point you make, ensure that you incorporate IRAC.
And I'm sure you're bored of hearing it already, but there's nothing more important than making sure everybody knows what your legal issue is, which rules you're using, how you've used them, and reference the case file. Nobody ever references the case file enough. And then finally, make sure you list your conclusion.
Secondly, be clear. Some of you might be nervous before pleading, and this might make you speed up, talk very, very quickly, and therefore you're difficult to understand and the judges don't know what you're talking about. However, make sure that you control the tempo with which you speak. It's slow, controlled, just giving the impression that you know what's going on, and this will help you be convincing.
And remember, this is coming from 2 native speakers, so we talk as quickly as we can. And also, at this point, remember, this isn't a TV drama. There's no point in trying to be fancy and over the top and doing some Shakespeare to try and convince anybody. It's first year Moot court. Keep it simple, keep it clear.
Ooh, I like that one, actually.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, it's the title of our new book. Keep it simple, keep it clear.
Okay then. So now on to the second section of this fabulous vlog. And that's really how to start. A lot of people don't know where to start with the pleading. And we've come up with how we tend to approach it. To each their own, but we've got a little bit of experience here, so we're going to lecture you on how we do it.
Okay. We would recommend that you pick your 2 to 3 strongest legal arguments. Forget some of the rubbish you've written. Focus on the 2 to 3 best parts. Some of you might only have 1. I know some of my group do, but 2 to 3 is what we would recommend.
And this is ideal because you've only got 5 minutes to plead. And in fact, this is our best tip, I think, of today. Only plead for 4 minutes because you will get a question. And that will take like about a minute. Depends how much you stammer and hesitate. Don't stammer and hesitate. But this will take about a minute to answer. So you really want to accommodate for that. So only plead for 4 minutes. Plan for 4 minutes and you'll be gold.
So bearing in mind your 2 to 3 strongest legal arguments, the fact that you're going to be pleading for 4 minutes, write a script. Time yourself, learn this script. And from this script make notes and slowly wean yourself off being reliant on a piece of paper in front of you. Rehearse in front of your friends, in front of your fellow colleagues.
Your housemates, your cats, it doesn't matter. As
the
long
mirror,
as there's someone in front of you.
Yeah.
And then, most importantly, make notes from your script. And this should be everything from provisions, rules, case law, how fast you should speak, where you should be looking. It doesn't matter. This is for you. It's support for you. The judges can't see this. This is all for you.
Yeah. When you're pleading, you don't want to be reliant on a piece of paper. You want to be maintaining eye contact. This is something we'll talk about later. But part of being convincing means that you give your full attention to the panel. If you've got your head buried in a piece of paper, not interested in it.
And as you may have noticed during this vlog, we're actually glancing down at a piece of paper right now because we're as clueless as you are when it comes to speaking in front of other people.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is why we have the paper in front of us. Notes, support, confidence.
Yeah. Right.
Okay then, so our next little section on, yet again, the fabulous vlog is how to plead. And this is just some tips and hints of the basics of oral pleading. First off is posture. Now we're currently sitting in 2 slightly small chairs. This is a little bit difficult to do, but...
I mean, I'm slouching, but
yeah, upright posture. You need to exude confidence, and it's really the confidence where you get convincing. You need to sit upright, shoulders back, and hold a good posture. Now, there are 2 different moot courts going on. There's the ECHR And they're also, not a fan of human rights. But also then there's the more fabulous arbitration. Now, I'm going to talk about arbitration because this is where I'm most confident. But in arbitration, you'll be sat down. Correct? Yes? Yep, great.
Right.
Just a little bit off-screen consultation. And so sit at the table, put your hands in front of you like this. Then nobody can see when you're shaking. But also, it's a good structure. You've got lots of lung space, you're leaning forward, you can see your notes in front of you, but you can also maintain eye contact at all times. Hey, look, I did
I've
this.
never heard someone talk about the science of posture, but there you go.
Yeah, well...
Alastair can officially talk nonsense on absolutely anything. So.
Yes, I can, and unfortunately this is going on the internet. So, yes, okay. So hands, and
look, we know that there's a lot of Italians taking part in this year's Moot Court. That does not give you the divine right to fling your hands about, everywhere.
Small gestures are nice. So when you're explaining, you can sort of emphasize a point. However, don't flit your hands around because you look more nervous when you're doing this.
Yeah, you also look like you're in some sort of like second-rate broad show.
Possibly even in the hour on a Friday
city.
night.
Yeah, exactly.
You want to be in control, and that means keeping your hands nice and tight, but then don't be afraid to emphasize at certain points.
Eye contact.
Now, this one is key. This is the golden rule. Always keep eye contact. Now, you don't want to be a creep, one of those anorak freaks hanging around schools. But what you do want to do is make sure you're looking into someone's eyes at every possible moment.
This is probably the most fundamental part of being convincing.
Yes.
If you look shifty and, weird and sort of glancing around the room and at the ceiling and the floor, I mean, I personally wouldn't take any notice of what you're saying.
No. So my trick when it comes to eye contact is to look at each member and spend about maybe 15 seconds or so. If you start feeling uncomfortable, then it's time to move on to the next person. But that way, you don't feel uncomfortable by staring at one person. They feel like they've got a connection with you without you being like a little bit creepy. But the most important thing is make sure you get in the eye contact. And to this end, we do have like a little note here. Don't look at the other team when you're pleading. You're trying to convince the judges, not the other team. Ignore them. They're not even in the room until they start pleading, and then you need to pay attention to them. Don't look at them, look at the judges, make sure that you're giving them special care and attention, and in that way they're going to make sure that they rule in your favour.
Next point, we briefly discussed this, but tempo. And we haven't exactly been sort of paragons of this particular principle during this video, but try your best to speak slowly, calmly, and from this you will be more convincing, you'll be more in control, you'll help tackle any nerves you have.
Yeah. And I think, like a little note on this point, when I was 6, many years ago, my mother told me how to, I think it was for the school nativity play, believe it or not. I was a shepherd. No, I wasn't. I was an innkeeper. That sounds more likely. And she told me, make sure that the person at the back of the room can hear you. And that applies to moot courts. Make sure you project your voice, not that you're yelling, but that the person at the back of the room can hear. Now, you'll probably be pleading in some big rooms, like the Feestzaal or the Statenzaal. And that applies there.
Excuse the Dutch pronunciation.
Yeah, I'm very sorry. This is not a skill I have. Thank you. But make sure the person at the back of the room can hear. Make sure the panel can hear everything you say, because it might be very important and they just can't understand. And they want to be polite and just breeze over it.
Exactly. I think we should go on to teamwork.
Yeah, teamwork. Now this is like where you can really pick up easy points. You've got someone sat next to you, 2 people sat next to you, in fact.
Yeah, unless somebody's dropped out or whatever, but yeah.
Yeah, well, more fool them. Teamwork is where you really pick up the points. This is where you can help out the person next to you by keeping an eye on the time with a watch. I'm not sure what the exact rules are, but with a phone maybe, and you can point out when they've only got 1 minute left, 30 seconds left. Help them out. Have the case file in front of you. Make sure that you know where the salient points are, so if they get caught up on this, that you can open the page. Here we go, point 1, paragraph 3, right in front of your teammate when they're pleading. Also,
unlike me, look interested in what the person sitting next to you has to say.
Yeah, I know, it's very dull, but you've got to pretend,
Look at them, maybe occasionally nod along. Don't sit there like some sort of weird bobblehead just nodding along, but look semi-interested even if you're not. Also, when the opposition are talking. I mean,
look interested. Make it look like they're making valid points. There's nothing more undermining than not giving them a death stare. Sort of the nice smiley face really throws people off.
Definitely. And this also, we'll talk about this a bit with the rebuttal stage, but if while the opposition are speaking, you notice a particular point that you think will be useful in the rebuttal, take a note of it discreetly and quietly, and just pass it to the person who's going to be doing the rebuttal.
Communication is fine. Pretend you're back in high school and sharing little love notes around the classroom. I wish. But this is absolutely fine. This is good teamwork. It really encourages like communication and keeps you all on the same page and make sure you have a nice rebuttal or re-rebuttal. Now we're moving on to probably the hardest part to try and explain, which is poker face. Try and look calm. You need to be convincing. You need to exude this kind of confidence that you are right. And that means when you get a hard question, don't freak out. Keep a nice, clean face. I can't think of how else to explain it, really.
No, even if you're pissing your pants, don't let the judges see that you are. Don't be like, oh God, I don't know what to say. Just sort of, hold the expression.
Take a breath.
Take a minute. Don't just start talking.
And we also mean this when you're pleading. Like, obviously you're going to have some nerves. Everyone gets nerves. Try and just deep breath. Make sure you drink plenty of water. Make sure you've got water in front of you, because there's nothing worse than trying to speak with a dry mouth. Come on, this is true.
No.
His tongue gets stuck to the top of your mouth and it never goes well. It also gives you something to hold in case you've got shaky hands, though be careful, don't get any water on yourself. You'd be surprised how often that happens.
Yeah, that's true.
But try and exude a confidence. Show that you're not fazed by the situation. And you'll feel it in yourself. Once you get going, then you get this like nice sort of kind of momentum, and the rest of it all works out. Finally, I think, is that the last one?
Pretty much everything for the pleading. Yeah.
Okay. So now we're on to one of the sections that we get the most questions on, and this is how to rebut. For some reason, we're not pointing fingers, but first years freak out about rebuttals. And there's no reason to. This is the end section. It's dead simple. Basically, everyone will take 5 minutes to plead. And at the end of this, you'll be offered a rebuttal. Now, this will be taken by one person.
One person appointed in advance.
Yeah, pick in advance. Don't worry about which area of expertise you're going to talk about. Just pick in advance, and then there's going to be no surprises. And here, teamwork is really key, because this is where you need the note passing going on.
But make sure you don't, scribble something down and then shove it to them at the other end. Do it subtly, quietly along the table. You don't want to draw attention to yourself.
Otherwise, you end up with crease notes like this.
Yeah, exactly. And once again, with the rebuttal, even if in the very unlikely case that you can't think of anything to say, just make sure it's simple and structured.
Absolutely. And a key, again, is to try and keep it really short. A rebuttal should be 30 to 45 seconds, really, tops. It should be 1 point, and it should be based upon what the other team has argued. And you should be really attacking just one weakness. And then the re-rebuttal, and this is where, people lose their head. But again, there's no reason to. You've just got to listen to the rebuttal and reply to that rebuttal. And again, that should only be sort of 20, 30 seconds, really. Like, keep it really succinct, and that's the best rebuttals.
Even if you, for whatever reason, and again, in the very unlikely event that you can't think of anything to say in the rebuttal, take the opportunity to maybe reinforce a point that you made during your pleading.
Absolutely.
Don't stand up and, sort of act like a fart in a phone box, just trapped and quiet, and say something.
Yeah.
But make sure it's simple and structured.
Yeah. And I know we just said a lot of stuff, but it's all the same. Keep it simple, keep it succinct, and keep it to the point. And then it's absolutely fine. There's no need to worry about it. It's probably the funnest bit, actually. It's the bit where you can kind of improvise a little bit.
Once you get going, you'll love it.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got to remember, pleading is the fun part.
I think that's pretty much it.
I think that is about it.
I see we've been talking for 13 minutes.
Oh God, I'm so sorry.
But yeah. If we had to sum up everything we've said in this sort of long-winded, sort of spew, exactly. It would be simplicity, clarity. Ironically, I didn't say that well. Simplicity, clarity, and structure. With those three things, you'll do absolutely fine.
And remember, enjoy it. This is the really fun part. You've had to write 10 pages of nonsense. Now you get to plead for 5 minutes and just love the attention. This is why I do it.
Yeah, you also get to, suited and booted. The guys get to put the monkey suit on. Girls, I don't know what they wear. Something nice. Yeah.
I think you wore a dress, didn't you?
No, well,
yeah. Okay, anyway, guys, best of luck and enjoy pleading.
Should we pause it?
Okay.